Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name, as always, is Isaac Fogarty. Welcome back. This is round 2 of the Trackstars Touring Car Series, and we are in lovely Italy in Sardegna for the Sardegna 252 races lay ahead of us today. It's just me in the commentary box this evening, no one else alongside me, so I'm going to try and stay sane for the next hour and a half as I bring you all this action. As I said, 2 races ahead of you. We're not going to waste any time. Let's get into our track map. Obviously, the Sardegna Road Track Layout A is what we have gone with for this week. 5.1 kilometers in length, 15 corners, and a 700-meter front straight. Plenty of opportunity for some drafting to take place, some slipstreaming into turn 1 if you're brave enough. 2 races this evening, 25 laps lay ahead of our drivers in each race with about 128 Ks approximately race distance, so a little bit over 250 lays ahead. Ridwan Ibn Hamza, he is currently leading the championship, race winner last time out. And he's the race winner here last season as well. So all to do if you want to catch our reigning champion and championship leader tonight. Let's have a look at our qualifying results. How will our grid shape up as we head into this race? Ridwan Ibn Hamza, no surprise, lines up on the pole position. Matt McCallum, a wonderful qualifying result. He will start from second place in this race. Liam Smith sits in third for FR Racing, looking to bounce back last week after a double disqualification due to not taking the correct tyres. Darren McSweeney will line up in fourth. The man who finished second in both races in Croatia will start fourth. Not the best qualifying for him. Justin Ladaway, another podium sitter in the last race at Croatia, will start from fifth place and only 2/10 back. A very close top 5 in qualifying, I have to say. Then Bryant for PHE sits in 6th place, and a great qualifying result for the young PHE sports driver. Nick Pautasso looking to bounce back this week and after a rough week in Croatia, and hopefully we'll see him do just that. He starts out of 7th. Then we've got Duncan lining up in 8th place. He's the other PHE driver. Christopher Lashbrook has stepped away from the series, and we wish him all the best. But Duncan will step into that seat, into the PHE car, and he lines up in 8th in his Trackstars main series debut. Then George Smith in 9th place for ART. Ian Ward lines up in 10th. Les Sandwith 11th. Then Costa Rock in 12th. Nick Scott, the 2WRT cars down the order, 12th and 13th. And then Matt Donetti did not set a time in qualifying, so he will start from last in both races today. Soft tyres are the mandatory tyre for this evening, and cars will have to make a pit stop at some point in the race. But that's enough chit chat. It is time to go racing. The cars are gridding up, so let's head on down to the race. Here we go for round 2. We have 5 lights. The lights are out and we are away in Sardegna for race 1. It's a lovely start for our pole sitter, Ridwan Ibn Hamza. An even nicer start for Matt McCallum, who holds on over Liam Smith at this stage of the race. Look out for Justin Ladaway down the inside of his CP Racing teammate into turn 1. There's cars everywhere, cars off the circuit, a little bit of biff and barge as they run through turn 3 down towards turn 4. For the first time, it is Ridwan Ibn Hamza that lives away. Here goes Matt McCallum defending from Liam Smith, but Liam Smith will get the move done through turn 5, and that is up into second place. And look out, because here comes Justin Ladaway on his CP Motorsports teammate further back in the pack. Things are starting to get sorted now. It's not a great start for Darren McSweeney. Started 4th in this race, and he now sits in 6th. So not the best start, but it wasn't a terrible start for George Smith up into 7th. Nick Pautasso up into 5th as well. So a few good starts up and down the field for our drivers. Les Sandwith started 11th in this race, up into 8th already. Warpig into 9th. He started 8th in this race. That is Duncan and then Ian Ward still in 10th. Kosterok, and it was Bryant that struggled off the race start here. Did not get the start he would have wanted after qualifying so well. He's now down in 13th. Matt Donetti running around at the back in 14th, and not a great start to his first run in a main game Trackstars race. But it is Ridwan Ibn Hamza leading the way at the end of lap 1 from his teammate Liam Smith. It is a 1-2 as it stands at the moment for FR Racing, and then Matt McCallum and Justin Ladaway sitting very close together in 3rd and 4th. And then there we go, Smithy, sorry not Smithy, that's Darren McSweeney up into 5th place now, looking to fight back. Nick Paltasso still holding on to 6th at this stage. And then this is George Smith coming under the pressure. Les Sandwich has a look around the outside into turn 4. Going to go for the switchback move to get himself up into 7th. There's a bit of contact between, that is Duncan and Smithy, it looks like. And that's going to cost him another place to Ian Ward now. So that's cost 3 places in one corner as a result of that contact for George Smith. He's back down into 10th now, and a lot of work to do to make up some places. The action is all happening here at the start of the race. We're going to have to try and slow down. Hopefully you were able to understand what I was saying, but I was trying to keep up with everything that was happening on the circuit. But it is Ridwan Ibn Hamza leading the way. Let's turn our attention now to this teammate battle in Matt McCallum and Justin Ladaway. What a start it has been for the CP Motorsports team. They looked really strong last season with it was Matt Campbell and Josh Green driving those cars. An all-new driver lineup this season for CP, but it's proving to be the goods so far. And they're looking at some really strong results here today if they can keep this up strong in qualifying. But look out for Darren McSweeney. He is on a charge, sitting 2nd in this championship. He does not want to let that man leading the championship, Ridwan Ibn Hamza, get away too far, because he will suffer and have a lot of work to do if he wants to claw it back. But let's have a look now at where everybody sits in this race. I'm just getting up on my screen my qualifying results so that I can keep a track of how drivers are doing based on where they started throughout the evening. Because that's what we really care about. We care about how our drivers are doing. Are they moving up the field? Are they moving down the field? What is their pace like? We're going to keep a very close eye on that throughout the evening. But for now, it is business as per usual. We've got this nice little battle starting to shape up between Justin Ladaway and Darren McSweeney. We're keeping a very close eye on this. Keep in mind, these guys started 4th and 5th, but the other way around. So McSweeney didn't get off to the best start. In the dirt there, a bit of smoke signals from the CP Motorsports driver on Darren McSweeney. And the number 55 car looking strong. Remember, drivers have to make a mandatory pit stop at some point in this race. Fastest lap so far belongs to the man that's on your screen right now, the ART driver. And he is flying at this stage. Matt McCallum now inherits the fastest lap and holds onto it. So a 29.39 is the fastest lap of the race. And this is Nick Paltasso finding his own sort of real estate, out on his own a little bit at the moment. Struggled in round 1, had to be victim of many parts of the circuit. That death chicane included. Very loose, look at that. On the run into turn 4, very loose under brakes. Big curb usage there from Les Sandwich. I thought he was going to spill it over the side, but he's held onto it. That's lovely car control. This is a nice little battle shaping up for 7th place. And Duncan, on his Trackstars debut, finds himself, pardon me, in a a Team XV sandwich. He's got Les Sandwich in front and Ian Ward behind. This is looking very, very spicy. Duncan, you want to get out of this as quickly as possible. Maybe put a move on the car in front. Oh, it's a little look. Ian Ward forces his way through into turn 9. That is a big move up the inside. And that was very bold, but he's made it stick, and that is now another position gain. Oh, very wide, and you have to be. Oh, but even more wide, and there's a little bit of contact between the two drivers. Smoke signals, that's another car. That's Bryant off in the background, trying to make up time on Smithy. Kosterok sitting in 12th. This is Matt Donetti now in 13th, and then Scutt down in 14th at the back of the field. Matt Donetti has a lot of work to do starting from the back of the field today. And hopefully we can see him start to move up as we see Duncan now into the lane. So he's going for his stop early, or his first stop early. I think he'll be able to run to the end of this race. Front end bumper damage as well for the 51 car of Matt Donetti. Starting to get into a rhythm now. Everything's starting to slow down a little bit, or at least we're trying to. No major changes so far in this field in the last few laps. Thank you for letting me know that Fortnite has officially updated. Now everybody knows Fortnite is updated. Need to really mute my notifications. I might just do that. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It was a very brief break just so I could mute my notifications. We get no more pesky game updates coming your way. It's just solely going to be racing now. And apologies for everyone who had to deal with that. But anyway, we move on. Nick Patasso sitting in 6th place. He's starting to catch these cars in front as well. He was a little bit. Might have dropped off now. 29.5 in the last lap. 29.7 for Nick Patasso. That's his fastest lap of the race. And our race leader, Ridwan Ibn Hamza, has now set the fastest lap of the race. He is flying out in front in comparison to his teammate behind, who did 29.7 on the last lap. So he is quick at the moment, Liam Smith, but maybe he's starting to play the team game a little bit to protect the lead that Ridwan has, and really set himself up to win this championship, Ridwan. And win it early. It's one on your worst days, but he doesn't have too many of those at the moment. And he's doing a great job leading the way in this race. Liam Smith sitting and saying, look at these CP Motorsport cars behind. Don't they just look fantastic? Let's get a onboard shot now. Can we? No, well, we'll go for this onboard shot. This looks lovely. In through turn 13. It's a very tricky section of circuit. Oh, on the grass. I think that was Justin doing the exact same thing and followed him. And this is a very technical circuit, especially turn 13. You have to turn the car in at the right moment to be able to carry enough speed to take that corner the way you need to without running wide. And both CP cars seem to come a bit unstuck there. And that's cost them a lot of time to the drivers in front. But here we go. Justin Luddaway seems to be gaining a little bit on Matt McCallum. Probably not enough to make a move though into turn 1, and it's not close enough. We've got a yellow flag in front. That is, I believe that is Scott facing the wrong way. It is. So Scott not having the best start to this race so far. He's already toured the pit lane once, and he's just going to have to let the train go by before he can get going again. And there's his teammate in Costa Rock, who will now come past. You'll have to let him go as well. Blue flag still showing for the WRT car. He'll get out of the way of his teammate and then continue on his way. Where is Matt Donetti? Not too far behind this group, and that may have just helped Matt a little bit gain on the cars in front. This is Warpig, one of 2 cars to have stopped in the field so far. He's not too far behind this group, so there's potential here on a fresh set of softs for him to gain some time. We'll keep a very close eye on that. That is Ward going wide at turn 9. Les Samwith doing a great job in this race so far. He's pushing on with, oh, that's a very wide line from, I think it was Bryant there. It's just a little bit of lag here and there from our drivers, and nothing too major so far. It's lap 7. We're about to start lap 8 of the race, so not quite halfway yet, 25 laps, so lap 12 onto lap 13 will have crossed over the halfway point. Got a little while to go, but we're over a quarter of the way through this race. 10 minutes has elapsed in race time. Remember, these are not sprint races, but they are shorter races than we would see. We've got next week, I believe, 250 kilometres of the Daytona road course, and that's just one race. That'll be a nice long race, the first longer race of the season for our drivers to get settled into, but for now they get these two shorter sprint style races. This isn't the only sprint race that we will see this season. We will see, in fact, some proper sprint racing taking place as the season wears on. I believe as a way to break up the Enduros, obviously we'll have the Spa Enduro, and then we go to Watkins Glen for the Watkins Glen Super Sprint at the long and the short track. And we have 4 races, 2 on the short track, 2 on the long track, and they're 20 and 14 lap races. So quick races they will be. But yes, next week we will go to the Daytona Road Course for the Daytona 250. That is one 250 kilometer, 44 lap race that our drivers will have to partake. And then it's the Daytona 500, which is a non-championship event. And here we go. We'll just come back to that because this looks like McSweeney going for a move around the outside of Justin Ladaway on the run towards turn 1. This is a very bold place to move, but Justin shuts that down pretty quickly. There's nothing that McSweeney can do so far, but he is looking very racy. Maybe has a bit more life left in his tyres. Doesn't really actually have much more life left in his tyres, but just seems to be finding his pace as this stint wears on, and he will try and stop. I'd say most drivers will try and stop at the halfway point of this race and only do the one stop to the end. But yes, 2 sprint rounds. We've got one at Deep Forest Raceway, which is 300 kilometer races, and then Watkins Glen Super Sprint, which will be an absolute banger of a race. Another one I'm looking forward to later in the season is the Green Hell 300, which is 300 Ks, 12 laps around the Nürburgring 24-hour circuit. So we opened the 10th anniversary season last year, and it provided some great racing action, and I'm sure it will do the same thing when we go there later in the season. But for now, all the focus is in the Italian countryside as Darren McSweeney is having a look at the back of Justin Ladaway. This is going to be his second attempt now through turn 14. You get a nice run through this final corner, turn 15. He could look for a move, but Justin is also closer this time to his teammate in Matt McCallum. So there could be a bit of a team move going on here, but the slipstream will protect the number 44 car as they run into turn 1. Not close enough. That's a lovely camera angle. You really got to center the speed as they come over the hill, as that is Bryant into the pit lane, and the 2 far cars getting close now. All side by side here a little bit, Ward and Pautasso. So this is a battle that's starting to shape up now. Ian Ward seems his teammate is spinning, looks up the inside into turn 4. That was a very bold move, and Nick Pautasso put a very swift end to that and said, no thank you, I will hold on to this position for now. Drink to reset the vocal cords. Push on. 10 laps completed in this race. That's an Eddie up into 10th place. Yet to stop though in this race. It seems Bryant is the first of the cars that has pitted. And then it seems to be a net gain at the moment for the other PHE car that is currently on your screens, and he is now ahead of Les Sandwith, who was running 7th before he stopped. So that seems to be a net gain for Duncan. And then Scott running in last, obviously a lap down at this stage. Brian actually has the fastest lap of the race, which he set before he came to the pit lane. This car, this PHE car is flying at the moment. He's got a lot of pace behind the wheel. A 28.8 is nothing to scoff at. Matt Donetti struggling for pace in this race so far, but he's on a very used set of softs with front and aero damage. There's his teammate Nick Pautasso. Something must have happened to Pautasso because he's had to come into the lane, so he must have missed it. But there's heavy damage and engine damage as well, so there has been something major that has happened with Nick Pautasso. Maybe we could check Ian Ward. Is there a bit of damage on his car? No, he seems to be okay. So maybe something happened on his own. We'll have to leave that to the stewards to see if anything was there, but I don't think there was. Heavy damage though to the MSR car. Fuel going in now. You can see that number continuing to climb. And you'll have to repair all of that damage. And you can hear that going now. It's a long time to sit there. There goes Les Sandwith. And Nick Pautasso will be last of the cars on the lead lap and he comes out of the lane. And a lot of work to do before this race is over. But we are now almost at the halfway point of this race. And Matt McCallum is now back down the order. So something's happened to Matt McCallum as well. So it's happening to all the key runners at the moment. Matt McCallum is now under threat from Ian Ward after this lap, and we'll see what the time is, but he's got a little bit of front end damage, so drivers starting to come undone on the worn soft tyres. Will he box this lap? That is the question. No, he chooses to stay out, but this is an opportunity for Ian Ward now to have a look as they run down the front straight towards turn 1. Over the hill they go, braking hard into turn 1. Lovely camera angle, and that is a great move, under braking around the outside from Ian Ward to get up into 5th place. And Matt McCallum now falls back to 6th. Not what you want, but Justin Luddaway sits 3rd now in this race. The two FR cars very close together. Would imagine there's not going to be a lot of fighting between those two. Team orders will most likely be in play. And Matt McCallum now with that front end damage. The car, you look at the tyre wear, is actually extremely similar between these two cars, almost identical. But that front end damage will be hurting the CP Motorsports car. There's a bit of work to do. Meanwhile, the other CP Motorsports car, Justin Luddaway, sitting on the podium at this point in the race and doing a brilliant job of sitting there, I must say. This has been a great start to the season so far for Justin. He had a wonderful run in the Trackstars Formula Series. Formula Trackstars, I believe, is how it's actually worded. He's finished second only to the man who usually wins everything at the moment. He can't stop winning, Ridwan Ibn Hamza. Ridwan did take out the Formula Trackstars title, but this man finished second, so he's got a lot of momentum in this Trackstars series at the moment, and he's looking to put that to good use as Matt McCallum now does come into the lane, so he's going to get that front end damage fixed, get back out there on a fresh set of tyres. We are now over the halfway point of this race. 13 laps gone, 12 to go when we cross the line. And it is Ridwan Ibn Hamza that leads the way in this race, race 1 of the day. And then Liam Smith sits in second. Both cars yet to stop. Justin Luddaway, 3rd after starting 5th in this race, but also yet to stop. And Darren McSweeney sits in 4th. Again, yet to stop in this race. Ian Ward, George Smith, and Kostarock. And then Bryant is actually the first car that has stopped so far in this race. He's starting to catch Kostarock, so this could be a very big gain for Bryant and PHE Motorsports. If he can keep up this momentum, he's doing really well. Where is Matt Donetti? He's behind Les Sandwith, but he has come into the lane for his stop, so he's on fresh tyres now and push to the end. What will our drivers do as we reach the pointy end? Ridwan Ibn Hamza is in. Liam Smith is in. Both the CP and... Oh, no. McSweeney stays out, so McSweeney's going to run a lap longer. This is a bold call from the ART driver, but he must know something we don't. He's lapping in the 30s at the moment, so Justin is going to need a great outlap if he wants to defend from the overcut from the ART driver. Smithy stays out. Kostarock stays out. Ridwan is gone. He is out back onto the circuit. Liam Smith's back out on the circuit. There goes Justin Luddaway back out onto the circuit. Here comes Bryant though. Gets past Justin Luddaway. That is crucial. That was a podium position for Justin Luddaway before he came into the lane. And he has now found himself in what would be a provisional 3rd place once all the cars in front stop. So this is brilliant from Bryant and PHE Motorsports, Esports, sorry. A wonderful strategy call to get their driver up into podium contention. But remember, he's now on older tyres, which is going to hurt him at the back end of this race. Justin has much fresher tyres because Bryant came in on lap 9. You have to keep an eye on that. 2-hour race leader now Will he blink this lap? Where will he come out in relation to Justin Ladaway? That's the question we're going to be asking. It seems the undercut is more powerful here, so Smithy would have needed McSweeney would have needed the in-lap of a lifetime to be able to pull this one off. Where will he be when he comes out of the lane? Here we go. In for his stop now. Tyres and fuel going in. Smithy also in. Where is Justin Ladaway? Here he is onto the front straight. The fuel is done for DJ. There he is. And he will come out behind these guys. So a fair way as well. That has hurt, actually. The overcut did not really pay effect. The undercut seems to be the way to go here, as shown by Brian, who now sits fourth on the road, third provisionally, once Kosterok does come in for his stop. So that is a really good strategy call, and I'm going to keep coming back to that because that's just brilliant. But Justin Ladaway, he can catch him here. Still a fair way to go in this race, 11 laps to go. And very easy to catch the drivers in front, especially on a fresher set of tyres, which is what he has. So let's have a look now. Ian Ward catching up to, this is Duncan in front, the other PHE car. So both PHE cars benefiting from strategy calls. But Ward on a fresher set of tyres, going to have a little look. He's a big fan of the late dive bomb, is Ward. Big fan of the late dive bomb. Sorry, just keeping the vocal cords hydrated. And Kosterok now in the lane, which means that Ridwan will inherit the lead of this race. And Bryant will jump up into that podium place. This battle is really starting to shape up at the moment between these two drivers for 7th place, or what will be 6th place, but that is Warpig ducking into the lane. Signing is done. So Ward stays out. Won't need to come in again. Matt McCallum inherits 7th place. That is a huge loss for a driver that was running 3rd in the not too distant past. Matt Donetti sits in 8th at the moment. He's just done his fastest lap of the race with a 29.2. So he is starting to put the foot down, really stretch his legs. Missed out in qualifying, didn't set a time, so had to start from the back, which means he has a lot of work to do. And this is his first run in the Trackstars main series as a full-time driver. This is his car. Obviously, we've seen him before. This is his car, and he is doing all the work today to try and get a result out of this race. As is the man in 3rd place at the moment. He's starting to gap Justin Ladaway. A little bit of mowing there from the PHE Esports mowing. We've got the CP mowing and PHE mowing. So there's a few mowing services going around here in the Italian countryside. So if you need your lawn mowed and you live in Italy, hit these blokes up. They're willing and keen. And that is a quick lap from Justin Ladaway, a 29.8. And there's a 28.9, sorry. A 29.1. So 0.3 faster on the previous lap than Brian. And it would appear those softs are starting to come into play now for the CP driver. Look at the difference in the tyre wear. He's actually running out of fuel, Brian, so he's going to have to come back in. I thought it was going to be massive strategy play. I forgot to check the fuel. Doesn't that make me look silly? This is how things are shaping up on lap 17. And it looks like Justin will inherit that 3rd place back. But keep an eye out, because here comes Darren McSweeney. He's not too far behind at all from this CP driver. And he's got a lap fresher tyres. He's just done his fastest lap of the race with a 28.8. He's flying, both drivers flying, I should say. Justin improving slightly down for McSweeney through the middle sector. Coming to the last sector now. That's where you can gain a lot of time if you get it right. I'd say Bryant will be into the lane Oh, it's loose for Justin Ladaway. He's facing the wrong way. Power slide out of turn 14. Carried too much speed. Faced the wrong way. Now he has front end damage as well. He's going to have to either carry on or come into the lane. Bryant is in the pit, which means McSweeney inherits third place. And now Justin Ladaway will have to stay in fourth. That is extremely frustrating for the CP Motorsports driver. A nice podium looks good there. And it just didn't work out. He got loose at the exit of turn 14, and it's come back to bite him, and this circuit certainly can do that. But Martinetti sitting in 7th now after Bryant back into the lane. Nick Pautasso sitting in 8th place. He's got Kosterok not too far behind, with much fresher tyres as well. This battle for the back end of the top 8 really starting to get spicy. Because we've got Brian who's just come out of the lane, we've got Pautasso, we've got Kosterok on fresh tyres, Smithy on fresh tyres. It's all happening now, and Nick Pautasso is going to be coming under a lot of pressure in a very short space of time. Because look at the train of cars starting to form behind him, lapping in the 30s at the moment. Kosterok is doing 30s as well. And then 29.3 for George Smith on the last lap, and then Bryant did a 2-minute, obviously, because he came to the pit lane. It's going to be a much slower lap time, naturally. Nick Pautasso, or Spud, as he is more affectionately known to many people in track stars, as Liam Smith now has the fastest lap of the race as well, with a 28.5, so they're getting even faster. We saw the fastest time in qualifying was 28.3, so we know there is the pace there. You wouldn't think you'd see them pushing too hard in a race trim. Never know. So lap 19 is about to start. We're getting towards the pointy end of this race now. Just over 6 laps to go. About 7 laps to go, I should say. I don't know, I'm trying to do maths in my head. I think it's 7 laps to go in this race. And it is Ridwan Ibn Hamza that leads the way. But this battle is starting to shape up. Here we go. George Smith has a look at Kosterok as they come into turn 1. That pace with the fresh tyres is not translated side by side through turn 4 into turn 5. I think it was turn 1. I'm so sorry. Getting my turn numbers all mixed up. Trying to do this on minimal amounts of sleep, and definitely start to lose your mind when there's no one else here to bounce off you. Doing this all on my own today. We're having a lot of fun. There's some great racing on the circuit to keep me more than entertained, and I hope you're all entertained at home too. Hello to everybody tuning in. Thank you so much for watching along, obviously, and supporting the Track Stars Touring Car Series. One of the most exciting series going around in Gran Turismo at the moment, I think, personally, not biased at all, and one of the best GT7 racing leagues, I think, for touring cars in Australia and New Zealand. This is where some of the best in the world, best in Australia, come to battle it out. Especially when we come to Enduros, you'll be seeing some very big names getting involved, I am sure. But here we go. George now has a look. He's got a chance now into turn 1 to maybe put something on. The WRT driver has a look up the inside, but he wasn't close enough, and he's been outbroken by Kosterok in front. Just open the door for Bryant now. There's 3 of them all having a look. This has been great for Nick Pautasso. He's just driven away. A little bit of front to rear contact there for Bryant. He's getting shoved around all over the circuit. A little bit laggy as well, and he's got a great exit. Gonna get past Smithy, and he get past Kosterok. He has a look, and I think he's sent a driver into the wall, but I don't know if that's lag. That's hard to tell. That is now Kosterok down to 11th, Bryant up to 9th, and now they can set off to Nick Pautasso with those fresh tyres. They had to use a lot of the tyre to try and get past the side by side. Smith now and Bryant going side by side. A little bit of shoving him out to run him out of road with George Smith. Very aggressive racing move, but he has made it stick. And that looks like Bryant now struggling a little bit. Doesn't have any damage, but he He is driving slowly. He's not too happy, I would assume, with what has happened there and what has transpired, but hopefully he pushes on now. And maybe just taking a second to get his bearings right again. But that's back down to 11th place for Brian, who is not a happy camper at the moment. He's lagging all over the place. Look at the lag that he has. Kostrock now into the lane. And we'll have a check and how the front of the field is shaping up. Matt Donetti still trying to chase after these guys in front. Ian Ward trying to catch up. Justin Luttaway. Real work to do with 5 laps to go in this race. 4 when we cross the start-finish line. There's been no word from the stewards so far. Everyone seems to be on their best behaviour at this moment. This is starting to come the way of Ian Ward now. He's chasing after Justin Luttaway. He's got a carrying damage. He's got a bit more worn tyres than the Team XV driver in front. Matt McCallum also trying to put in the work to catch up to the Team XV driver. Sorry, the team escaped me there for a second. As we look on our screens now, they're starting to catch up. Apologies, I'm just making sure that I'm all over what's happening up and down the field with our drivers, and it seems to appear that I am, which is good. I want to make sure that I'm up to date on everything that's happening up and down the field, and that I certainly am. But Ian Ward trying to set after the man in front, and it looks like Sweeney sort of just disappeared, and he's found himself in no man's land. The UFR drivers, I don't think Liam Smith's really interested in making the move on his FR Racing teammate. They're just sort of happy to run line astern at the moment. Ian Ward closed in even more though on this lap to Justin Luttaway in front, so there could be a move to be had before the end of this race. What is going to happen with these drivers? Justin Luttaway carrying damage. Can he hold on to 4th place with 3 laps to go when they cross the line? It's a long time to hold off a very fast charging Ian Ward in the Team XV Nissan GTR. Here we go. He's got a good run out of the final corner. Can he make inroads here on the CPM Motorsports car? He's a bit far back to make anything happen, but he's getting closer and closer and closer. He's going to have a look into turn 1. He's carrying a lot of speed. There's contact. He's pushed the driver off. That is Justin Luttaway turned around facing the wrong way. Matt McCallum is going to go through on Ian Ward, so there's no real net positional gain for Ian Ward. Justin Luttaway turned around there. That will certainly have to be something that is looked at by the stewards, and there is Matt Donetti with an absolute free kick to gain on these drivers in front. But that was a huge moment in this race, and Ian Ward is now under investigation from the stewards, and they'll have a very hard look at that, because that was a CP Motorsports car facing the wrong way in the sand trap on the exit of turn 1. A very late braking move from the Team XV driver on Justin Luttaway, and Justin will not be thrilled with that at all. And with 2 laps to go in this race, George will have to make a decision very quickly, but Matt McCallum gone from 6th all the way up to 4th. So a free kick, I would say. We're talking about free kicks a few times in this race, but an absolute free kick for TP Motorsports and Matt McCallum, because he now finds himself in a very strong position in 4th place. And now Matt Donetti is having a look at the back of Justin Luttaway. These two have a little bit of a history together. They are good friends. They race very clean on track. Has a look up the inside. Justin indicated to let him know, just go past. There's no point in me fighting that one too hard. That is Matt Donetti up into 6th place now in this race. And fairly close, I would say, to Ian Ward in front. If there's a penalty that will apply, let's have a look through the rest of the field. Nick Pautasso sort of floating out in no man's land. Doing a great job getting himself into the top 8 after that heavy damage. This is a good comeback for him. George Smith in 9th. Then that is Duncan in 10th. Les Sandwith 11th. A difficult race for him. Was looking strong early. Hasn't had the pace towards the back end of this race. And then Brian as well. Frustrating. And then Nick Scott is a lap down in this race. Remember, we are getting word from the stewards. This man on your screen, a 10-second time penalty will be applied to his race result. So a 10-second time penalty for Ian Ward at this stage drops him down to 7th place behind Justin Lattaway. So a small consolation for Justin Lattaway if he can hold on and stay close enough. Ian Ward is crossing the line now. There. To start his final lap. How far behind is Matt Donetti? He's crossed the line, that's 5 seconds. Justin's crossed the line, that's 7 seconds. So he just has to hold on, stay within, not lose 3 seconds on this lap. I don't think he will. 29.9 as a 31.6, so it could happen. Justin's going to have to hold on if he wants to keep his, or to gain that position over the man who's been handed a 10-second time penalty. Not sure if Justin will be fully aware that that time penalty has been awarded. Hopefully the team can get on the radio and let him know. But he has a bit of work to do at the moment with this race being drawn to a conclusion very soon. And it's going to be this man that will cross the line and go 3 in a row. Opens his Sardegna account very strongly. It's a win for Ridwan Ibn Hamza. It's a 1-2 with Liam Smith in 2nd. Holds on. What a result for FR Racing after a tumultuous opening round. It was an up and down first round. And this man, Darren McSweeney, didn't get the race start he would have wanted, but he comes home in 3rd place to continue his championship charge on the man that is leading the race. Matt McCallum, a great comeback to finish in 4th place. Ian Ward, 5th with a 10-second time penalty held over his head. Where is Matt Donetti? There is Matt Donetti. He will jump Ian Ward. Will Justin Lattaway jump Ian Ward? I'm being told he will. And Nick Pautasso holds on for 8th place. And a wonderful, wonderful result after early damage to come home in the top 8. Let's go and check out our full results. Here we go, our race 1 results, and it is Ridwan Ibn Hamza winning the race. He takes the victory here in race 1 of the Sardegna 250. Liam Smith will finish in 2nd place, and then Darren McSweeney in 3rd. A great result for the ART driver. Matt McCallum comes home in just 4th place in this race after an up and down first race. And he was all the way back in 7th at one stage with some particularly heavy damage, but managed to fight his way back. Matt Donetti, after starting last, will finish 5th following that penalty being applied to Ian Ward. Justin Lattaway, despite having damage and that late contact with Ian Ward, will finish in 6th place. Ian Ward, 10-second time penalty, drops him from 5th to 7th. Nick Pautasso, top 8. So 2 cars in the top 8 for MSR. That's a wonderful result. George Smith in 10th. Then we've got George Smith in 9th. Duncan 10th. And Les Sandwith just outside the top 10 in 11th. Bryant in 12th. Kosterok 13th. And Nick Scott 14th. So that is your race 1 results. What a start to the Sardegna 250. We're going to take a very short break, refuel, recharge, and we'll be right back with all the action for race 2. Welcome back. Thank you for bearing with us in that short break. But we are refueled, recharged, and our drivers are all ready to go for race 2. Let's have a quick reminder of our qualifying results before we get into race 2. So it is Ridwan Ibn Hamza again that will line up on pole. Matt McCallum in second, fourth in that first race after starting on the front row. Hopefully he can go one better and get himself on the podium this time. Liam Smith will start from third. Then it is Darren McSweeney fourth. Justin Ladaway fifth. Brian in sixth. Hopefully he can make the most of that qualifying result this time out in race number 2. Nick Pautasso in 7th. Then it's Duncan 8th. George Smith in 9th. Ian Ward 10th. Les Sandwith 11th. Costarock 12th. Nick Scott 13th. And Matt Donetti again, setting no time in qualifying, will start from the back of the grid. Well, we are now ready to go for race 2. Race 1 provided a lot of action. I'm sure race 2 will as well. Let's jump over to the coverage. Here we go. We are at 5 lights. It is time for race 2. The lights are out and we are away. Ridwan Ibn Hamza yet again off to a brilliant start. And I believe it was an FR Racing front row. So the qualifying results might not have been exactly accurate to what we saw on the grid. A bit of contact between the drivers there. I actually think it might be the race results of the first race determine the grid for the second race, but I will actually have to confirm that because that would be very interesting if that was the case. And Brian is down the back. Well, I'd say yes, it was. Martinetti is in 7th, so must be where you finish in race 1 is where you start for race 2. A little bit of if and barge as we run through the middle sector for the first time. A little bit of contact there, but the 2 MSR cars not having the best start, getting pushed around a little bit. And now Les Sandwith is having a look at the back of Nick Pautasso on the run down towards turn 9 for the first time in this race, side by side as they enter the braking zone. Costarock sitting in behind, having a little look, and he holds on, and he actually gets the overlap, does Nick Pautasso, on Warpig. The Lexus compatriots, the manufacturer mates, as you can call. A little bit of side-to-side contact between Duncan and Sandwith. A bit of grass being thrown up as well. Mowing services left, right and centre. Everyone holds on. No one with major damage at the start of this race. But it is Ridwan Ibn Hamza that leads the way from Darren McSweeney. Got off to a great start. Made the most of that second row start to get the jump on Liam Smith early in this race, and now sits in second and has to put the pressure back on the FR Racing driver to get that move done and get back up into second if they want a 1-2 again in this race. CP Motorsports running 4th and 5th so far. Side-by-side action for Martinetti and George Smith on the run down towards turn 4. Who will come out on top in this? It's side-by-side, so close together. And Martinetti holds on over the ART driver. Sorry, there's too many RT teams. Again, we had that discussion last week, and Ward has a little bit of a look at the back of George Smith, but not close enough to make anything happen just yet. But everyone seems to be starting to settle down now as we get stuck into the pointy end of race 2 now. And this is, there's a look there on the inside, but cannot get it done. That is, I believe, Les Sandwith and Duncan having a little bit of a ding-dong, as the term is. That's the technical term, I believe, ding-dong battle. Got the work to do here. Oh, pushes him off. That's Ian Ward being pushed off. I was slightly distracted there with some stewarding updates from race 1. That 10-second penalty was appealed and will be upheld. That is Warpig in the wall. And that is heavy contact with the wall, actually, in fact. And he is stopped on the side of the road. And Ian Ward now into the lane. And will that be game over for... It is game over for Duncan. So he has retired from this race. Damage being repaired for Ian Ward as well. And that'll leave him a long way to run in this race. So just informing you that penalty was appealed by TMXV and it was in fact upheld, so that 10-second penalty will stand for the TMXV driver. and he will remain in 7th for that race. Here we go. This is shaping up to be a nice battle. This sort of, the F1 drivers sort of walked away in the first race. But they just sort of disappeared into their distance, ran their own race, a line astern. So Darren McSweeney's decided that's not going to happen this race, boys. You don't get to have the fun in both races. I'm going to be here, and look out, because you saw what I could do in Croatia. I had a lot of pace. He did have a lot of pace at Dragon Trail. He had a lot of pace in this first race today, and he's going to continue with that as we push on into start lap 4 of this race. The final race of the weekend, the second phase of the 250 kilometres. But next week, we also do 250 kilometres, but we do it all in one go. It's the Daytona 250, 44 laps of the Daytona road course, which is going to be a long time for our drivers to sit behind the wheel of this car. And it's going to bring a lot of strategy into play as well. Everyone seems to find their own little bit of real estate at the moment. Matt Donetti, though, starting to close up on the back of the CP Motorsports driver of Justin Ladaway in front. He had a great result in race 1, did Matt Donetti. Started last, but fought his way up into 6th place, 5th place on penalty correction. And that is a brilliant run as his first race of the season after missing round 1. Every driver gets 2 drop rounds, and he elected for that to be one of his drop rounds. From what I understand. So he did not race last week, but he's back this week, and he's come out swinging, missed out on qualifying, and said, you know what, I don't need to qualify, I can still get well inside the top 8, even if I don't. Hopefully he can continue that form in this race. The battle still rages on at the front. Sweeney not letting Ridwan get away too much. This is, while it's a shorter race, only 125 k's, it still is a long race, so there's plenty of time for the work to be done. Everyone else seems to be running on their own at the moment down the bottom. Not too many battles going on up and down the field at this stage. Anthony's still closing in on Justin Ladaway. Let's keep an eye on this battle now. We head into turn 4 and into turn 5. Where will these guys finish when the race comes to an end? It's currently the best first sector for Matt Donetti. That Lexus has got some pace. He's trying to put it to good use. Fastest lap of the race at the moment belongs to McSweeney with a 29.1. Can Donetti go even faster than that? We'll find out in just a minute. But as he continues on this lap, but he's going to be held up, I'd say, a little bit by these CP guys in front. It's clear he's got a lot of pace in that car. It's hard to use it to full effect when you've got traffic. He's still up on his best time. Not the best time overall, though. A little bit of smoke screen there for Justin Ladaway. Will that open the door for Matt Donetti? Nick Pantasso. Everyone's doing the same thing in the background. Everyone's just seen Justin go off. Thought, you know what, that looks like a bit of fun. I might do a little bit of that too. Here we go. Through the final corner. He's nice and close this time. Can he get the slipstream on the Nissan GTR in front of him? Down the front straight. He's got the run now. Can he have a look up the inside into turn 1? He pulls out up the inside, very deep on the brakes, and a lovely move from the MSR driver. Matt Donetti up into 5th place now. Justin Ladaway, that won't be the last of it though. There's some work to do if you want to get one done on Justin, and that's a cheeky look there, just shows the nose ever so slightly. And Matt will hold on for now, but this is not the end of it. Justin doesn't let you walk away that easily. He might just give the tyres a chance to come back to him, cool off a little bit. Matt had to use a lot of tyre to get past, but Justin knows he has a bit of a tyre advantage now on the car in front, but we won't want Matt to get too far away and catch up to the other Matt in Matt McCallum in front, but Matt and Matt sitting 4th and 5th now in this race. Are there any other Matts out there that want to make themselves known? Maybe we could have a Matt and Matt field going if we get enough of them. Careful, if Matt Simmons ends up racing in this series at any point, we'll have Matt and Matt. And we just need one more, and it's Matt. And wouldn't that be a headache for everybody to follow on? I'll stop talking about Mats now, but speaking of Mats and Eddie, what can he do on this lap? Matt McCallum has pulled away a little bit from him in front. It seems that Matt's doing Matt McCallum, I should say, did a really good job of looking after his tyres, but slightly faster on the previous lap was Denetti. So he is gaining, but Justin, 30.2 on the last lap, so not his best time. That would have been hampered by the move into turn 1 from the MSR driver. And we've got George Smith in the background, lurking, waiting for these boys in front to make a mistake. Up the top of the field, what have we got at the pointy end? Anything exciting? Sweeney started to fall away from Ridwan. Now, Liam Smith is starting to come into his own, and have a look here at the ART driver. And look at the run that he gets through turn 9. That was a little look there from Justin Ladaway as well on Matt Denetti. I told you. We said earlier, Justin doesn't just lie down and take it. If you get past him, he's not just going to let you walk away into the distance. He's going to put up a fight. Oh, onto the grass. Small contact with the wall. And that certainly will not help the situation. But he was close before that. And speaking of close, Liam Smith nice and close to the back of Darren McSweeney now, as they run onto the front straight. Is there an opportunity here with the slipstream to make something up into turn 1? You can see the speed difference. It's about 5 k's an hour, but it's not enough. And McSweeney's just a little bit of a defence, not too big, but just a subtle defence into turn 1, just to make Liam Smith think twice about making a move. That's very smart driving from the ART driver. Matt Denetti catching back up to the other Matt in front of McCallum. Matt of McCallum and the Matt of Denetti. 4th and 5th on the road. We reach lap 8 now, so we are over a quarter of the way through this race. It is Ridwan Ibn Hamza that leads the way. The championship leader is looking to go 4 from 4 so far this season. No one has dared upset him yet in terms of taking away a race victory. It is David. I keep saying David. I'm so sorry, Darren. I didn't know his first name last week, and now I do, and I keep mucking it up. That's what happens when you sit in front of your computer and do a broadcast at 11 o'clock at night. This is coming to you right around the world, wherever you're watching, whatever time you're watching. It goes live usually at 7:30 Eastern Australian time on a Wednesday on a Wednesday evening. But I always record or sit down to broadcast the day before. Currently doing it. That's 11:15 in the evening where I am. So it's a very late night for me, but anything for Trackstar. This series provides some great racing, so there's never a reason to not get involved. But Smith starting to close up still, but hasn't been able to make a move stick yet. He's doing some solo lap times. It's McSweeney was faster on the previous lap. Is just sort of in no man's land. Les Sandwith trying to chase after Nick Patasso in front. Kostrock sits in 10th. Milky 11th. Then we've got Bryant in 12th. And then Ian Ward down the back in 13th. Obviously came in to fix that damage early on, which means he's just sort of left running out on his own at the moment. And how long you spend in this pit lane. And this battle, not really grown, it's not really shrunk, it's just sort of stayed the same. Drink to refresh the boats. Stay hydrated, kids. Especially when doing commentary, you've got to make sure you stay hydrated at all times. But it's a lovely sort of sunset afternoon vibe to this race at the moment. You can see the shadows getting longer than they were in race 1. That starts to mess with your mind a little bit as a race car driver. Obviously, you rely on various points for braking, and they'll be looking at the boards as they come through, or sometimes you pick a spot on the road or a mark like a curve or something like that where you go, this is where I start braking for this corner. I tell you the one thing to never do in racing is pick a shadow, because shadows move, and it's going to be very awkward if one lap you come through and the shadow's in one spot and the next lap you come through, the shadow's moved and you brake too late and you end up either in the wall or in the gravel trap. So these guys, as these shadows start to get longer, the sun will start to get lower, maybe get a bit tricky. Have a look on board now with Matt Tonetti. I just love the sound of the Lexus. I am partial to a Lexus GR2 car. They're a lot of fun to drive, and look at that sun coming through into the final sector now. This is a section of circuit you don't really actually want too much sun. And through here, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Let's, I'll step back for a little bit here. Let's go for a lap on... Oh, actually, here we go. He's going to make a move on Matt McCallum. Is that a move for position from Matt Tonetti? Yes, it is. Will it stick, though? Let's find out. Matt McCallum has a look. He's going to be in the slipstream of the MSR cars. They run towards turn one right on the bumper, essentially pushing him. But Matt Tonetti will hold on to fourth place, and that is a gain if ever I saw one. Loose on the exit from Matt McCallum. Too much dirt on exit. Car got loose, and that is very handy for Matt Tonetti. But now, let's gonna leave you for a lap here with the MSR driver, and just turn it up and enjoy the sounds of these cars as they rip around such a beautiful, iconic circuit. What a circuit this is. As we push on, it's lap 12 now. We're almost at the halfway point of this race. And it is Ridwan Ibn Hamza that leads the way. And it is Brian Stingray, somewhere down the order, that has come into the lane to serve his stop. And I have to do an apology. I have been calling him Liam Smith for pretty much all of this broadcast, and I believe last week as well. And I'm so sorry. It's not Liam, it's actually Luke. And again, this is what happens. I have too many names to keep up with, and I get myself confused. But Luke, I'm so sorry. I will not make that mistake again, hopefully. But it is Luke Smith that is running this car, and I'm very sorry to Luke for getting that wrong. But he's doing a wonderful job. He's sitting in 11th place at the moment, the first of the leaders to stop. And speaking of leaders that are coming into the lane, our race leader, Ridwan Ibn Hamza, is in for his stop now. And his only stop of the race, what it seems to would be. And Darren McSweeney choosing to stay out. So again, we saw him run long in race one. I don't know how well that exactly worked for him. But he is staying out for now again. And we'll see how that plays out for him as this race goes on. Where will he actually fall victim to the Luke Smith behind, because he wasn't actually too far behind him when they came into the pits. So there's going to be a bit of a question mark when they come, when McSweeney makes his stop. It's to be a bit of a spicy race at the moment. It's me excited. And racing is spicy. Plenty of action for us to call. Matt McCallum, Justin Luddaway, not too far behind. But Mazzanetti came in for a stop. It was a longer lap as well. 2:24. He's come up behind Milky. Also stopped, so something must have gone wrong there for Mazzanetti to be right down the order. That's not good. We'll keep a close eye on that. He was doing really well up until that point, and here we go. So McSweeney's coming to the lane. He stopped both CP cars in the lane. Smithy also in the lane. Will Partasso come in this lap? He will. So this is going to be a question of where does he come out? Tyres going on. Where is Ridwan Ibn Hamza? There he is, coming towards the final corner now. Fuel is going in for McSweeney. Ridwan and Luke are line astern. Out of the lane, where is our race leader, Ridwan Ibn Hamza? There he is. There is Darren McSweeney. There is Luke Smith up the inside into turn 1. And he will get past, loose on exit on cold tyres for Darren. And that is a positional gain for Luke. The undercut has paid off. And he now finds himself in second place, albeit with slightly more worn tyres, which will favour him now with the heat and the grip up to temperature. Pressures are up and the grip is up. The tyres are warmer than the cold tyres behind that McSweeney will be experiencing. But as those tyres start to come up to temperature, start to sort of rubber in for McSweeney, he will have the pace advantage in the back end of this race, I would imagine, over Luke in front. So this is a lot of work now for McSweeney, and the pressure now goes on to him. We talk about how when you're the driver ahead, the pressure's on you, but there is times, in times like this especially, when you're the driver that's was ahead but now chasing, you have to do the work if you want to get past, and the pressure moves across to you to make sure that you can get the job done and get the position back. So this is now what's the work that he has to put in to try and get past Luke in front. It's lap 15 of this race. This is the Sardegna 250, the second round of the Trackstars Touring Car Series. We have a huge calendar that lay ahead this evening, and I've also just realised we haven't actually covered what the calendar is so far, so we might have to do that before we wrap up the broadcast today. I don't have a little picture for it. Might be able to get one for the next round, so we can probably run you through what the calendar looks like. But 15 rounds on the calendar to see the year out. Purple in Sector 1 for Darren McSweeney. So those tyres starting to come up to temperature now, which is a sign of things to come for the ART driver. What is Luke Smith doing in that FR car? Is he setting purple sectors? He did 29.0, the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap. The times are nowhere near as fast as they were in race 1. He also does his best sector in Sector 2, but the times are... huge contact with the wall. That is massive contact, and now McSweeney, the door is open for him to go up the inside. That's going to be damage on the car. No, he got away with no damage there, did Smith. That was a huge moment, and I'm sure a very scary moment for the FR Racing driver. But now it has opened the door, for McSweeney. They're going to go side by side on the run down towards turn 1. Small touch as they get to the braking zone. This is very hard. More contact side to side. They get loose on the exit, does Luke Smith, but they hold on. And that is McSweeney still in second place in this race. That is a brilliant battle between these two drivers. And he holds on, but Luke has a little bit of a look up the inside into turn 5. This is great stuff on the run down to turn 6. They're still side by side. through Sector 1. Justin Luddaway watching along with great interest, I'm sure, hoping this goes on just long enough that he can catch up. And McSweeney continues to have it over on Luke Smith, but here's another opportunity on the run down to turn 9 now. He's so close to the back, but he's going to cover the inside into turn 9. Heavy braking. Looks for the switchback. A little bit of contact with the inside wall, and that'll sting. And that should be the moment, or the opportunity, sorry, that McSweeney needs to gain the momentum, because Smith was just looking to push back past, had the momentum to do the switchback on the inside of turn 9, but that inside wall caught him out, as it does for many, and there was contact which meant that he couldn't get the turn in, the angle that he wanted, and that has opened the door for McSweeney to start to pull out a little bit of a gap. What a battle between those two drivers. Ridwan Ibn Hamza now has the fastest lap of the race, a 28.7. And now it is up to this man here. If he wants to set after, hopefully there's not too much more battling between these two drivers, because McSweeney's clearly got pace in that car. He wants to put it to full effect and catch the man that is leading this race in Ridwan Ibn Hamza. He has not been knocked off the top step yet this season. Can McSweeney be the first man to do it? He couldn't do it after 2 attempts in Croatia. Not for a lack of trying, though. There was some brilliant battles between those two throughout the course of the race. But he's just too quick at the moment, Ridwan. So hopefully, with just over 8 laps to go in this race, something can be done about it. Fastest at the moment. He's set the best middle sector of anyone so far. Trying to put the gauntlet down on the man who's just gone fastest on the previous lap. A little bit loose on exit there from McSweeney, but he is holding on for now. He started to pull that gap out now as well to Luke Smith behind, so that gap is beginning to grow. Is this his fastest lap of the race? It is. Only just, though. Everyone did a 29.1 on the previous lap, so that was a 4/10 gain for the ART driver. So there could be a potential here for a battle to shape up as this race gets on. But let's have a look through the field now. Justin Luddaway sits in 4th. Matt McCallum in 5th. George Smith in 6th. Nick Baltasso up into 7th. Les Sandwith doing a wonderful job in 8th after starting outside the 10 in this race. Andreas Kosterok in 9th so far. And then it is Matt Zanetti, who hasn't had the race he probably would have wanted. I think it might be a race to forget for Matt Zanetti. He was running really well, and then there must have been a mistake somewhere that's brought him undone. He has fallen back through the field. Nick Scott sitting in 11th, and then it is Will Bryant in 12th. Ian Ward in the pit lane again for another damage repair. I believe that's also for a set of tyres. It is. So he's taken his set of tyres that he needed to. And Will Bryant, after a wonderful qualifying, just neither race has gone his way today. And that is extremely frustrating for the PHE driver. There's already one PHE driver DNF'd. We've obviously got Chris Duncan, has retired from this race after heavy contact on lap 1. Not the day that PHE Sports would have won after a strong start last week with a podium and a top 4 for Chris Lashbrook. Obviously no Chris Lashbrook anymore, stepped away from the series and has been replaced by Chris Duncan in the PHE entry, but not the start to the series he would have wanted, not the way he would have wanted to start his Track Stars main game experience. And hopefully we'll see him bounce back next week when we head to Daytona for, again, 250 kilometers, 44 laps, Daytona road course. That's going to provide a lot of action, and tyre wear will be a big talking point there, especially through the banking. Your loaded side tyres, or your right side tyres, your working side tyres, will go through a lot of pain there through the banking. Then we'll have to do equally as much through the infield section. And Have a look at the lap times. 28.6 was the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap. 28.7 on the previous lap for Ridwan. So, these guys are starting to lift now. Stuck in my teeth there. These guys are starting to lift now as we get towards the end of this race, starting to push even harder on these tyres, making the most of them. And leading the race. Leading the championship, looking to go 4 from 4 so far. No one's been able to stop him yet. Looking like no one's really going to be able to stop him today either. As struggling at the moment to keep up is McSweeney. And we've got 6 laps to go in this race. Any battles happening or shaping up down the field? It looks like everyone's sort of found their own bit of real estate at the moment. Antonetti's not too far at the back of Costa Rock. That could be something that does start to shape up very soon. Seems to be just holding on at the moment. There's Costa Rock. There's Costa Rock, obviously. And then, Will Bryan all the way back in 13th place. Get back in with our leaders. A real positional gain made. Time advantage gain, I should say, made for McSweeney so far. Everything's just started to calm down now. We've got 5 laps when they cross the line to the end of this race. Everything just seems to hold itself back a little bit. And we're all winding down from what has been a wonderful day of racing here in the Italian countryside, Sardegna. Again, round 2 of the championship. And this man on screen has put on an absolute clinic in these first 2 rounds. 3 from 3 so far in the box seat to go 4 from 4. And I promise I'm not really trying to put the commentators across. Maybe a little bit, but it's very rare we see a mistake from this man. And even more rare, that mistake yields a massive positional loss. That's why he's had the number 1 on the door for the last 2 seasons. He's looking to go for the 3-peat, do 3 in a row. And if he can do 4 in a row, he'll be amongst the greatest of all time. He already is amongst the greatest of all time in Trackstar's history. But if he can go 4 in a row, I believe, and I can confirm, I will confirm in fact, I believe that will be the equal best record, and it will be. So, obviously that's a couple seasons away now, but Jarman Dalitz, that's how you say it. I apologise if it's not, but I believe it's Dallas. Jarman Dalitz of It's Racing, and used to be in a team with this man, It's FR Racing, and then last season it became FR Racing, and now that's what we know it as. The man that used to run this team went 4 in a row from 2015 to 2019, winning 4 Trackstars Touring Car Championships. And he's handed the reins to this man, his protege, and he is on track to do 3 in a row and be 1 championship season away from his mentor. But obviously, that's a long time. It's a long time. This is a long season, 15 rounds. It's only round 2, so we can't hype that up too much yet. But we can confirm as well that Jarman Dalitz in round 3 will appear as a wild card. So he will be racing in Daytona as a wild card. And if anyone could upset this man, maybe it's the master. Or has the student become the master? We'll find out in Daytona. But that'll be 15 cars on the grid for Daytona, which is very exciting to have an extra car running around in that 250-kilometre race. But we are on lap 22. 3 laps to go when we cross the line. And it's still Ridwan Ibn Hamza leading the way, but starting to gain now. Just ever so slightly, a 29.5 on the previous lap for Ridwan, a 28.9. So a 6/10 gain on the last lap alone for McSweeney. And these tyres are starting to come to him a little bit. They are worn, about similar tyre wear for our lead 2 cars. Luke Smith out of the question. He's got a bit more wear than these two do. But let's have a look at the lap times here. 29.6 plays a 29.1. So 5/10 again on that lap. And he's starting to put the hammer down now, is McSweeney. He said, hang on, boys. I'm not done yet. Don't count me out just yet. I've got more left in me. And he's going to have to, with only 2 laps to go, or 3 laps to go in this race. He's got a lot of work if he wants to get past the man currently leading this race, because it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to overtake. But, whoop. My apologies. Too many buttons. We have a look through the field now. And Smithy and Pautasso not too far away from each other. This is a nice little battle starting to shape up. Only a few laps to go in the race. But there could be something that goes on here. We'll keep a close eye on this battle while we keep one eye out the front as well, because that's not done yet either. Quick look, nothing doing there. Bit of dirt contact. Now it's Pautasso going side by side with Smithy into turn 9. Does get the move done. That is a brilliant overtake, and Smithy is also carrying damage, so that would have helped. But Nick Pautasso will be the second MSR car to get up into 6th place in a race today. That is a brilliant effort from the Mash Buzz Racing driver. 8th place in race 1, 6th place in race 2. He'll be really pleased with the bounce back in performance today. And he is now 6th place. Obviously a one-time series champion, won the series in 2020 for his team Mash Buzz Racing. And he has a lot of work to do if he wants to put himself in the championship equation for this season, but never ride him out. And that is Luke Smith starting to run out of fuel. But look at this at the front. It started to close up even more. And we only have a lap and a half left in this race. So we're almost there. And Darren McSweeney is closed in on our race leader. Look at that gap now. It's got to be less than a second, surely. 29.2 on the last lap, plays a 36. Ridwan is struggling. He is not using the tyres to the full effect. This is huge for the ART car. There is a potential here. If he can get close enough on this exit, I don't think he quite is, but he could look for a move into turn 1 if he's close enough. I don't think he is this time around, but he doesn't have a lot of opportunities left as we enter the final lap now. What is the lap time for Ridwan Ibn Hamza? It is a 20.6, a 29.2. So 4/10 difference on that lap. He is clearly the faster car at the moment, but it is a lot of work if you want to try and overtake around here. He has to find a key opportunity, and I believe it's going to be that back straight. So a good run through the first sector into turn 4 now. Throw the car across the curbs as he does. Look how close he is to the back of the number 1 Nissan GTR. This is on for young and old. Not for young and old, really. They're both fairly young blokes. But it's on for the big hitters in this series. FR, the established team. ART, the brand new team. To Trackstars Racing. McSweeney, it's his first series in the Trackstar series. You have a look to the outside. Ridwan's going to cover the inside under brakes. They're going to go side by side into turn 9. This is brilliant stuff. McSweeney looks for the switchback, but Ridwan parks the car perfectly in the middle of the corner to block off any sort of switchback attempt. In through turn 12 now, into 13. If he can stay close through here, there is a potential for a move into 14, but he has lost out a little bit, a bit on the dirt on the exit of 13. He's not going to be close enough. The slipstream is going to have to come in huge here, but he's squirrely on the exit, and it looks like, provided he takes this corner perfectly, which he does, Ridwan Ibn Hamza is going to hold on in a thriller in race 2 here in Sardegna. Ridwan Ibn Hamza wins. Darren McSweeney in 2nd, Luke Smith in 3rd, Justin Ludaway in 4th, and Matt McCallum will bring home a 5th place result and a strong double top 5 for CP Motorsport. Nick Pautasso in 6th place, and then George Smith will hold on for 7th place despite the damage. Les Sandwith take a bow wonderful result in 8th. Let's now go over to our full results. Well, what a race that was. A brilliant finish. As always, an electric finish here. An absolute thriller to round out the 250 kilometres of Sardegna, the Sardegna 250. Let's have a look and remind ourselves of those race results. So Ridwan Ibn Hamza just barely holds on over Darren McSweeney. One more lap is what they probably, everyone says it, but one more lap, and I think he could have got him. And unfortunately, he just ran out of time. Luke Smith holds on for 3rd place in this race. Justin Ladaway finishes 4th. And then CP Motorsports inside the top 5 with both cars today, which is a brilliant effort. So 5th place for Matt McCallum. Nick Paltasso, 6th place. George Smith in 7th. A great result after a struggle in the first round. And a struggle again in the first race. Comes back to finish 7th place. Les Sam with the great turnaround. Finishes 8th. And then Andreas Kosterok in 9th. Matt Donetti, a race of what could have been for him. Started last. Finished 6th in race 1. Was looking strong for a top 4 in race 2. And then must have been a mistake somewhere. Not quite sure what happened to him. We'll have to try and find out. But did finish in 10th in the end. Nick Scott, 11th place. One of his stronger results this season. Ian Ward, 12th after a difficult race with damage. And had to make 2 tours through the pit lane in the end, which is one more than everybody else has to make. And then Will Bryant finishing in 13th. And a day to forget for PHE after Chris Duncan DNF'd. So both down the back end of the field for PHE. Well, what a result it has been today for our drivers. What a day of racing it has been indeed here at Sardegna. That is all from me this evening. I hope you have enjoyed tuning in at home. We've very much enjoyed. Well, I've very much enjoyed your company. And thank you so much for tuning in. We will have a quick talk through the calendar. I don't have a picture, but I will get one for next week, I promise. But we'll have a quick talk through the calendar. So next week, we go racing in Daytona on the road course for the Daytona 250. There's a 44-lap race that will take place. And then after that, we have the Daytona 500, a non-championship tri-oval round. And that is going to be super exciting for all of the drivers that will be involved. All the drivers from TS2 or from mains, TS2 and TS3 have the opportunity to be involved in that race if they so choose. That's obviously 200 laps of the Daytona Oval. And what a long race, but what a fun race that will be. And then we have a bit of a season break. So that'll get us through to the 10th of August. Broadcast will be a few days after, usually on the Wednesday. So that's probably the 13th of August, if my math is correct. If we broadcast the Daytona 500, that is touch and go. There definitely will be a broadcast for the Daytona Road Course. But then we have a bit of a break, and then we come back towards the end of August with a community vote round. So that will be voted on by the community, the drivers in the main series, what track they want to race at, what track they want to see, and we could see anything. So anything could happen with that. But that is what lays ahead. So the Daytona Road Course next week, and that will be something that's very exciting indeed. But thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed our company. I've very much enjoyed yours. As always, my name is Isaac Fogarty. Go well, look after each other, and we'll see you next week. But for now, it's goodbye.